Hello friends and gamers, and welcome to turn number 9.4, the British Commonwealth and the French turn. I have with me today is my second in command, Felix. Hi Felix. He's going to be a little Napoleon someday. Well, this turn has seen some interesting activities. We've seen the Germans increase their stranglehold on Europe. They've annexed Yugoslavia and aligned Bulgaria. They've captured our last vestiges of Polish freedom in northeastern Poland, and they've made an attempt against Lithuania. Unsuccessful, and Lithuania happens to be in our control right now, with the British Roundel present. In the Atlantic, we see the German submarines have been systematically sunken, and now the tides are turning as they themselves are being sunk after raiding across the entire Atlantic. The Russians have done an event and invaded into Norway. They have invaded Norway in, what's that place called? Trondelag, I believe. And, well, it's a bold move, let's put it at that. But that's made the Swedes join the Germans. They've been aligned by the Germans. So that changes things quite a bit on that side of the world. If you would have asked me before what I would have thought of the turn, or what I thought of the game, I would say the Comintern were distinctly winning, and I think that move tipped the balance in the Axis, well, slightly in the Axis' favor. It's definitely made it a lot harder for themselves, the Russians. But ultimately, we'll still see. It's still a fairly well-matched fight. Now, what else have the Russians done? They've begun to build a factory here in Transcaucasus. And the CCP is increasingly putting a lot of threat on the KMT forces here. They find themselves massively outnumbered by the CCP forces, and just find themselves all around in a tough position. The Japanese have moved their entire fleet to this position here, off the Caroline Islands, from which they can threaten the Anzac holdings here in Australia, as well as go as far as USA with their surprise move. They can get there by going 1, 2, 3, 4, up to that position. And that's with their transports and everything hitting that position. So we could see 1, 2, 3, 4 units arriving to San Francisco. Not that they're going to do that, but they might. We may see more likely a naval battle if that's what it comes to. But altogether, that's how the whole battlefield looks. Now, before we get into anything, I wanted to point out one thing that has to happen. The submarines do get a response whenever I send a destroyer to go attack them. The submarines do get to roll a die to attempt to sink a destroyer. Now, on Panzer King's video, he for some reason had it here. He said any ships in this position, I would remove one destroyer. But I haven't attacked any submarines in this position yet. So I'm thinking he means this one here in C-Zone 24. And we've discussed that, and that seems to be the place for it to happen. So I'm going to take away one destroyer from that position. And it is sunk. You know what? I feel like I've already removed a destroyer. But I may need to double check that. Okay, I'll have to look into my videos and double check that, because for some reason I have the destroyer parked over there. This is my casualties chart. And I'll actually pause it and walk you over there to have a look at it. This is my casualties chart for the the navies. The Navy's fighting in the seas and the amount of losses that we've suffered so far. So I've been hit once by anti-submarine, so I've lost $7 here. I've been rated for $19 for a total of 37 here. But on the flip side, I've sunk, well, what is this, 5 submarines? I've sunk this much of the Krieg's Navy, that transport, and these 2 ships used to be Vichy. That is a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $97. $97 sunk by the British Navy for exchange of 37 lost. So that's what that side is. It's a small victory. Now, I haven't completed this and written down the values here because there's going to be 2 more submarines hopefully sunk this turn. Now, over here, we have another battle that concluded. The Netherlands. So, in that, we've lost 36 and the Germans have lost only 15. So that hasn't paid off as much. Now, we did get $19, came basically for free, just in the same sense that the Vichy ships here came for free. But I'm still counting it, because there has to be some figures involved too. And with that in mind, I lost 36. 9 as an investment by the British, 9 as an investment by the USA, for a total of 36. Okay, let's take a look at the other side of the table again. Like I said, I'll have to look to see if I've already removed that destroyer or not, because that is the only, you saw it's already calculated in my charts there. I just don't remember if I've lifted off the piece off the board here. That's this one right there. So I need to double check and make sure, because some of these ships just became mine too, off of the Netherlands. So I'll have to have a glance at them and see. Careful. My little boy. Okay, we're going to go to the economic table now and roll for some tech and discuss things here. So we have a bit more income this turn. Here we have 22 bucks. So 22 bucks, we're getting 3 infantry, 1 KMT Marines that we're going to attempt to send all the way there via the Mediterranean. We're starting at airfield in Gibraltar and we're getting 3 militia. And yeah, help my son off this chair. Woo! There we go. Okay, and we're doing a tech for wartime economy. The Far East Command has 20. Wait, son. No. Has 27 bucks to. 17 bucks to spend, and so they're going to work on 2 fortified lines. One in Calcutta, and one is going to be begun in Hong Kong. Actually, we're getting 2 militia and 1 infantry. Now the Anzac, they're using all their money on home defense. It's only 9 bucks. So 9 bucks on home defense, that's 3 militia, 1 infantry. And the Canadians are then leasing 3 bucks to USSR, bringing our debt down to 7 bucks left over. And we're getting a free French infantry, and that is it. We have 1 buck left over. We could give it to the Russians, I debated that, but I'm saving up for something next turn. We have 2 tech rolls, so this second one is long-range aircraft. So I'm going to roll for them now, so that is 1 long-range aircraft, which will be the black dice. And 1 white dice for wartime economy. Both of them I need to hit a 7 or up to succeed, I believe. Yeah, 7 or up. So the black dice succeeds, so we get long-range aircraft. But the one that we actually wanted, well, unfortunately that did not go through. So we're in stage 2, long-range aircraft. All right, now let's take you back to the board as we move some units around. I might actually have to pause it for simplicity as to what we do where. Especially if my son is now in my arms, and he may be a bit of a handful, so I may need to pause for a bit, and I'll get back to you momentarily. Okay, there's only 2 attacks occurring this turn, and that's kind of the obvious ones, right? There's an attack here, so a fighter came from this position to 32, and a fighter came from this position to 32 as well. So from 48 and from 23. From Labrador came 1 fighter to here, C-Zone 21. And that's being accompanied by 1 destroyer. This one is not being accompanied by any destroyers. Just, I don't want to take the risk of getting hit a second time. I'm going to try to do this as cheaply and efficiently as possible. So, let's do this one over here first. So it's just 2 simple dice, and I just need to hit at a 6 or less. What do you know, 2 4s. Perfect. Now that's wiped out with no response. That will go up on the chart again. Now this other one here, I'm going to have to fish up another dice somewhere. Let's see. Here we go, a red one. Okay, so the coastal submarine, it's going to be rolling a 2. So let's say, okay, so the black will be for the aircraft, black will be for destroyer, red will be for the aircraft, and white will be the defense. So 2, 4, and 6 or less. That's not on camera. 2, 3, 6 or less. So the destroyer manages to hit, and that is our second submarine, second coastal defense ship sunk, and that takes care of that. All right, so I will start on the non-combat, but I still have to quickly think that through. But non-combat, I'm going to simply move this plane back into Labrador, so that takes care of that one. And these 2 planes will be coming 1 position down south here. Now, I should also state too, I forgot to put this in the production phase, but this battleship is repaired from this dockyard. So I get to remove this at the end of the round. And that's the way that goes. So let me think some things through for non-combat, and I'll be right back. Alright, non-combat phase for the British Commonwealth. So there's a lot to move, so let's get started. I had a quick look at my previous videos, and yes, I do have to remove one of these destroyers. That was sunk by boat when the British attacked them a few turns ago. What was it? 1 turn ago. So These two ships, the destroyer and heavy cruiser from 23 move to 33. The light carrier moves from 23 to 48. The heavy coastal defense ship from 48 goes to 33. I'm going to move one additional destroyer from 24 to 33. I'm going to move this torpedo boat destroyer one space down as well. From the coast of Denmark, I'm going to move this torpedo boat destroyer to 24. And I'm going to move this light cruiser from 10 to 24. What else do I do? I think that's it for over there. Yeah, looks like. So over here, I'm going to be moving this destroyer and this sub, and they're going to sea zone 80, where is the bulk of the British fleet. I already removed the token for damaged over this one here. I know it's supposed to happen at the end of the British round, but I've been having a little bit of difficulties. So this transport with the French troops are coming up here. Boom, boom. And we shall see where they land. We shall see where they land. This strategic air bomber, the strategic bomber and air transport, they're going to fly up to London. So they do have the range. It's only 6, and they managed to get here right on target. Okay, I have the Canadian transport here, which is going to go park where the previous one was in sea zone 105. These two transports here are going to come to sea zone 81. Pick up some units here. They're going to pick up these two in Transjordan and these two, and going to park them in Gibraltar. So Gibraltar will have a total of 5 infantry, 1 Canadian specialized infantry, as well as two existing militia that were there, Anzac artillery and tactical bomber and fighter. Next we have this medium bomber is going to fly down to South Africa with a movement of 5, and this infantry is going to rail up to Belgian Congo. I also need to move, these guys are moving back here to sea zone 80 so that they could drop off in Gibraltar, and I'm moving these Anzac ships to sea zone 83. This torpedo boat destroyer moves to sea zone 80 from 151. I think that covers that. Yeah, that covers that. Lastly, I'm going to move this airborne from Azerbaijan to Iraq and from northern Iran to Azerbaijan. That's what happens there. I believe that covers it on this side. Now I cruise over to this here side. This ship comes here, picks up an infantry and anti-aircraft, and moves 2, 3 rather, because it started here. So 1, 2, 3, and drops off in Hong Kong. Now lastly, we have 3 more units to move. And this is when things went sour for me, where my camera fell onto the table and smashed everything. So I'm really hoping I have everything in the right spot. I'm not even sure anymore. Okay, so this coastal defense ship goes to Wake at 66, and submarine goes to 66 as well. And here in Australia, we move 1 militia down south to Sydney. Now we're going to go rapidly into place unit phase. So we had 3 militia to spend as the Anzac, and they're going to place 1 in New South Wales, and they're going to place 2 in Sydney. Right there. They're also going to be placing 1 infantry here in Sydney as well. We go up this way. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think I got that right. Okay, so in Hong Kong, we're going to be placing 2 militia, and we're going to start on our fortified line in Hong Kong as well. We're also, while we're here, we're going to receive the Lend-Lease for the KMT here in Hong Kong. And then we turn a little bit this way to look at Calcutta. So Calcutta receives 1 infantry, and we're finishing this fortified line. And that's that on that side of things. And now let's go to look at this side. So we get 1 infantry placed in, where is that piece now? 1 infantry is going to be placed here in South Africa. We're going to be placing 1 militia in Azerbaijan, and the remaining units are going to be placed kind of on the Atlantic coast, or at least touching the Atlantic. We have an airbase that we're going to be placing in Gibraltar, and then we have 3 militia to place, and all 3 of those, 2 of those are going to be placed, you can't see it on the camera, so So 2 of those are going to be placed in London. So there's 2 militia here. And I'll stack them with these guys. There we go. And the 2 airborne are going to be placed here as well. And lastly, we're going to be placing 1 militia up here in Scotland. Our brave, brave Scottish souls. And I believe last thing we have to do is, well, we send our Lend-Lease to Russia, so $3 to our Russian friends. And then we look down here and we deposit 1 French infantry in the capital region of Mauritania. And that's that. Okay, now we go to the economic table. But before we get to the French turn, I am going to grab up the French Lend-Lease, and that's going to be placed in French Mauritania, where it's allowed to be placed. We're also getting our 3 Russian Lend-Lease, and that's going to be shipped right across to Russia. So, Hilltop, you get $3. And that concludes that turn. So the amount of money we get this turn is, for Britain we have 24 we gained. For Far East Command we have 16 we gained. This one's for there. So for Anzac we have $9 we gained. And for Canada we gained $7. We had 1 left over, and we get an additional $2 because the West Atlantic convoy line is free of enemy ships. That is it. So again, stay tuned for the French turn. Now the French don't have too much going for them this turn. They have only $2 of income per turn. They have 2 infantry here. They have an infantry there, a cavalry in Chad, and a few ships scattered around. People have been asking me, why doesn't this cavalry go into Cameroon? Well, they can't. I mean, I can. Attacking into jungle would give me -2 for vehicle class, and cavalry are considered vehicle class, so I'd only be rolling 1s with them, so that's not quite good enough. We'll have to wait for a more optimal day for that. But we do have $3 of income, and so our $3, well, not $3, we had $3 left over from last time, and so we're purchasing 1 infantry. Now, we can place that anywhere in a territory that we owned at the start of the turn, but we are doing 1 attack. We're doing an amphibious assault from here to northern Algeria. We really want northern Algeria. And this is a very risky attack. It can be an all or nothing. Everybody's rolling, well, I'm rolling 1s for my infantry, and the defense is rolling a 2, and he gets double strike on the first, double casualties on the first round. So the blacks are going to represent the attack, rolling at 1, and the defense is at 2. So his fighter can't scramble. There's no air base here, and he did place it in Tunisia. So hopefully this goes beyond 1 round. Oh, look at that. Close. I was holding my breath there. So to double check, yeah, it was a militia rolling a 3, and 1 of my infantry did succeed at a 1. So we managed to capture northern Algeria for Free France. That was a close thing. I was holding my breath. You may see some funky goings on with the French side of things. Truth is, my camera fell and made a mess. So I had to reset it based on the video. So you saw that the French happily captured this area, which is grand news for the Free French. So their income is now at 3 and the Vichy is at 4. They are doing a couple moves. So this cavalry could be also considered a combat move. Well, I was debating doing a combat move with them, but I came to this thought. How does amphibious assault work? Can I amphibious assault an area with non-infantry units? Can I amphibious assault with a cavalry? There won't be any combat, so the cavalry can just land and walk into the territory. So I think it does work. If it doesn't work, that cavalry can't capture territory, it can't disembark from ships. I know it says on the first round of combat, only infantry class may engage, but if there's no combat, then I think it should work that I just walk onto the territory with cavalry. So going by that gut feeling, this cavalry is moving to Tanganyika. If it can't do what I said, and it can't jump on board a ship, then instead it's going to probably go to Obongo Chari, but no, I'm going to send it to Tanganyika. That seems to make sense to me. And this Free French fleet is going to slip over here to Sea Zone 83. That's what they do over there. And we are going to... I think that's it. Free French don't have too many territories. Now lastly we have over here, we have these two Free French units. Now they are out of position for what I wanted them to do, but they're going to try to get into position anyways, and go 1, 2, 3 to this C zone. And hopefully they do some good over there. Yeah, that's what we do. So that is a Free French. So the Free French also receive, well, they get to build 1 unit, as you've seen, and so I'm going to place that unit in Chad, because I have to have held it at the beginning of the turn. So 1 unit is placed in Chad. And at the end of the turn, we collect $3 as the French. The Free French also non-combat move onto this Canadian ship. That is the plan. Then we'll see where they go after that. And I believe that's it. So the next person's video to watch is going to be Panzer Kings. He'll be doing 9.5, and it'll be the Italian turn, and so we'll be able to see how ambitious the Italians want to be. Will they want to engage the British forces? Now, I've moved 2 ships out of here, but I've reinforced it with 3 ships. So, and I've also repaired a battleship. So the odds aren't all that much different from what it was a turn ago. I see I missed one last thing. Non-combat, this fellow here from 22, the Canadian Corvette, goes to 33. Sorry about that. Just slipped my mind. So yeah, will the Italian player engage the Royal Forces? They're stronger than they were last turn, so I expect they won't, but they might be feeling that time is running short, and maybe they feel compelled to act sooner rather than later. But we'll have to see. We'll have to read how things go. I know the British forces can pounce on any one of their territories now with their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. Plus shore bombardment. They could definitely maybe not take Rome, but they can definitely make a landing and have a hold of their territory for the rest of the game with the forces that they have available. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if the Italians let us do that. Okay, thank you all for watching, and have a great day. Cheers.